and I came across some really inspiring posts from photographers. So it's by at Grace Schilt, and this is what she wrote. Day 1 versus day 75. I'm a better version of me. I'm mentally a healthier version of me. I'm physically a stronger version of me. I've discovered a lot about myself in the past few months. I can honestly say I'd never feel the way I do today without 75 hard. This time last year, I was so mentally destroyed, my legs wouldn't move when my brain told them to get out of bed each morning. That wasn't even the worst of it. I was in a very bad place. This January, I woke up a completely changed person. I put in the work. I make the time for me. I'm in control. This isn't for everyone, but it was for me. Reading this is exactly what made me feel so inspired. When I first started my wedding photography business back in 2011, I made just $5,000 in my business. Now, I bring in multiple 6 figures per year while working only 30-hour weeks serving my dream couples. I'm here to help you discover that it's so possible to have what you want when you want in your business so that you can create the life you've always dreamed of and deserve. Welcome to episode 50 of the Shine and Thrive podcast now. Oh my gosh, I love that I'm literally, all I could think of is episode 50. I'm leaving the first hand and going to the second one. And you're like, what the hell does that mean? And I'm like, for some reason, because when I was younger, I used to count in math, like on my fingers to quickly solve problems. And all I could think of is like, oh, 50. That's kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now, as I keep moving forward with this podcast, I'm going to head over to my second hand up until I get to 100, which doesn't make sense because we have 10 fingers, not 100. Anyway, not sure why I said that, but yeah, I'm just so excited that I got to episode 50 so far. It's crazy how over time, when you stay consistent with something, you just can look back at this beautiful collection that you've created of something. And I'm like, wow, I have 50 episodes in. And one thing that I love about this podcast and creating it is that anytime someone has a question for me, I'm able to now direct them to a podcast episode that will help them more in depth rather than me just quickly answering it in a DM or in like a Facebook Live or something. I love that I'm able to like share this resource with everyone and help them along their journey of, creating their dream photography business. So yeah, it's really fun to see me hitting the 5-0. And I'm excited for this episode. It's a little bit different. It's more around personal development. And because I do believe like for us to be successful in business, like personal development and business development go hand in hand. And so that's constantly what I'm working at. I'm working on developing my business knowledge, but also, diving into personal development books and learning how I can become the best version of myself in order for me to show up as the best version I can be in my business. And of course, I don't think we ever reach that like peak level of like, this is who I've always wanted to be and I will stay here forever. No, it's always going to be a work in progress. We're always trying to figure out how we can, become the best version of ourselves because there's always room to grow. So that's something that I do love about that. But we also have to keep in mind that sometimes it's okay to just be and not chase the growth as well. So keeping that balance, because I know me being an Enneagram 3, which is the achiever, man, I constantly need reminders of, hey, Sara, slow down. You're pushing too hard. And actually, I'm going to get into it a little bit in this episode of how this week I realized that I was kind of like getting burnt out and I was getting more adrenal fatigue just because I came out of creating a new course and launching it as well. So that was like it took a lot of work and effort and energy. And I just have to listen to my body and know, okay, like you can take some time to just now relax before you move on to your next project. So yeah, it's okay to, be where you are and take in everything that you've created thus far and embrace that and celebrate it and just be. But it's also okay to chase always, growing and achieving and becoming the better version of yourself, I guess. And so I guess all in all, listen to your inner voice, of that knowing voice of knowing what you need. When you're feeling burnt out, and when you need to just take a pause and just take better care of yourself, whether it's slowing down, reading a book, taking a bath, going for a walk, spending time with family and friends over Zoom or whatever, just connecting, right? So I think, that's something that I'm learning. Just like listen to that inner voice more often, and you'll know when you want to grow more, and when you want to just chillax more. Okay, so with this episode, I'm excited to talk to you about what the 75 hard challenge is, and also why I'm doing it. If you follow me on Instagram, you saw that I was kind of like deciding for a couple days, like, oh, should I do it? This is kind of intense. And I decided to do it. And you can follow along on my journey. I'm going to be kind of sharing as the days go on of how it's going for me. But first, I'm just going to break down what the 75 hard challenge is for you, and then I'll let you know why I did it. So basically, let me kind of like list out all things that I have to do. So for 75 days straight, I have to do all the following. So 2 45-minute workouts a day. Okay. And one of them must be outside, no matter the weather. And by the way, as soon as I read this, when I first discovered this, I was like, 2 45-minute workouts a day? What the heck? And then I read one of them can be a walk. I'm like, oh, okay. That changes everything, because otherwise I don't know how my body will be able to handle that. So what I'm doing is I'm doing 1 45-minute walk outside per day, no matter the weather. Even if it ends up being -20, I'm going to do it. And the other 45-minute workout can be whatever that workout means to you. So doing yoga, doing like a weights workout, a HIIT workout, whatever that means for you, going for a run on the treadmill. So yeah, I have to do 2 of those a day for 75 days straight. I also have to drink 1 gallon of water. I have to read 10 pages of a nonfiction book, and nonfiction being like personal development or business development. I also have to follow a diet. And just to kind of clarify what this means. So following a diet, this is whatever you choose, whatever will help you become healthier or the better version of yourself. So for me, this means no junk food, no cheese, and no gluten, because I have a gluten sensitivity. I basically like bloat like a motherfucker. Like at the end of the day, sometimes like Rory would make like a pasta, and I'd be like, fuck it, you know what, I'm just gonna have some. And then I'm like, Rory, look, and I lift my shirt up, and he's like, oh my God, it's like, you're literally pregnant. And so I didn't know that was what it was until a couple years ago, and I realized, oh yeah, whenever I eat gluten, that's what happens. So I don't feel great after like when that happens. I feel so like full and heavy, and like my skin is literally stretching on my stomach. It's not the best feeling. So yeah, I'm just deciding to avoid that. And yeah, this is my own personal journey with food, and I know how I feel if I eat certain foods. I know that I feel like crap after, and I want to feel better more often, more energized, all of that. So I'm choosing this for me. I'm not following any like specific diet that's more like keto or anything like that. That's just not what spoke to me. I know for me right now, what I need is just to see who I can become if I don't eat junk food or cheese, because cheese is my like freaking weakness. You guys know I'm obsessed with cheese. And I literally binge it. Like if I get cheese, I have to eat it all in one sitting. So I just want to see who I can become without junk food, without cheese, and no gluten. But whoever's doing that, like for anyone doing the 75 hard challenge, you choose the diet that works for you and that speaks to your soul, right? So that's what that means. Also, on top of that, for 75 days straight, there's no alcohol or cheat meals. Okay, so none of that. And lastly, take 1 progress picture a day. So that is the challenge. And honestly, when I first discovered this, I saw someone posting it on Instagram, like someone who I kind of look up to as a high achiever and high performer in their business and in life. And they look super healthy and energized all the time. And I'm just like, wow, like that's incredible that they're doing that. I can't imagine doing that, especially during lockdown and the winter. I'm like, no, I want my like cozy little cheat meals, and I want, what's it called? I want to have like wine when I want to have it, and all of that. Right. So at first I was like, oh no, that's not for me. But then for some reason it like stayed in my head, and I was like, I couldn't get it out of my head that this person was doing this. And so what I ended up doing was kind of just like actually diving in and researching it a little bit more. And I went to the website where the challenge is hosted. So it's 75hard.com. And I read the page, and the guy who created it and did it himself multiple times through his life just shares how transformative it is. And it's not about the body. It is not a body challenge. It's a mental toughness challenge. And as soon as I read that, I was like, ooh, I love that, because I'm so curious, like, who would I become if I did this? If I actually did this, who would I become? What would I heal myself from, right? How much stronger would my mindset be around, doing things in life that scare me, or in business that scare me or make me uncomfortable, things like that, right? So I'm like, you know what? I'm actually considering this as I'm reading this page, and I'm like, holy crap. So then I go to Rory, and I'm like, hey, so I heard of this thing, like, what would you think if I did it like this winter, like now, because it's 75 days, so 2.5 months. And he's like, oh man, that's hard, especially that he knows how much of a hard time I have with not emotionally eating, because you guys have heard this from me on the podcast many times. I open up about how I have an addiction to food, and I literally sometimes cannot control myself. And I don't know if you guys listened to my recent episode. I think it was, oh my gosh. Well, it was the one where I explained my goals for this year, right? One of my goals was to have only one unhealthy snack night a week. And that's it. And around the other days I would eat clean. Right. And January, I mean, it worked for me for like a week or two. And then I found myself going back into my pattern, and I've been on this journey of figuring out how to just have control over myself because I don't want to feel like crap when I eat crappy food. That's what it comes down to. Right. And then I'm just like, Rory, what if I did this? And Rory's like, oh man, that's hard, because he knows how much of a hard time I have controlling myself around food. And then he's like, I don't know, like, what if you tried it in the summer? Because that, like, you doing it paired in the winter, when he knows that I really have to work at my mental health in order to have good days, because I'm like, I'm a summer girl, right? He's like, oh, I don't know, maybe try it in the summer. And something about that, I was like, wow, like, I just want to, I want to see if I'm going to do this, can I do it in the hardest time it would be for me to do it? Meaning February, March. Like February, you guys know it's the coldest, right? For us in Ontario here, and March. And then it's also like we're all already in the winter for a longer period of time. So we could be getting sick of it and all of that. And I was like, you know what? I want to show him and myself that I can do it even in the hardest time for me in the year, because maybe it would be easier for me in the summer, especially with like going out for a 45-minute walk every single time. And also in the summer, there's so much more to do outside that I don't usually eat as much in the summer as I do in the winter. So that kind of like ignited something in me, especially just wanting to prove to myself that I can do something this hard in the hardest time of the year for me. So after that, I went on to Instagram, and I'm like, okay, let me check out this 75 hard challenge on there and what people are doing. So I checked out hashtag 75 hard, and I came across some really inspiring posts from photographers. And I'm actually going to check my phone right now. I'm going to find one that really spoke to me. Okay, so here it is. So it's by at Grace Schilt. So Grace, Grace, and then SCHILT. And this is what she wrote. day 1 versus day 75. I'm a better version of me. I'm mentally a healthier version of me. I'm physically a stronger version of me. I've discovered a lot about myself in the past few months. I can honestly say I did never feel the way I do today without 75 hard. This time last year, I was so mentally destroyed. My legs wouldn't move when my brain told them to get out of bed each morning. That wasn't even the worst of it. I was in a very bad place. This January, I woke up a completely changed person. I put in the work. I make the time for me. I'm in control. This isn't for everyone, but it was for me. And so I guess she did it. She did the challenge starting at the end of 2020. And I think she finished it on January 23rd of this year. So basically she was in the middle of the challenge, even through New Year's. And she just said how she woke up and was a completely different version of herself. And reading this is exactly what made me feel so inspired. I'm like, okay, how would Sara be as a mentally healthier version of me? How would I be as a physically stronger version of me? And I love that she wrote at the end, this isn't for everyone, but it was for me. And as soon as I read that line, something inside of me was like, this is for you. And I'm like, okay, I need to listen to this voice. And on top of that, just to give you guys some like a little backstory of like why, another reason why this really spoke to me is, so I think it was about 2 years ago, Roy and I went to Nepal and we trekked the Annapurna circuit, which is about a 200-kilometer trek through the Himalayas for 2.5 weeks straight. And we did it with like really heavy packs on our backs and just constant walking all day. And slowly the altitude was getting higher and higher, and the weather was getting colder and colder. And it was a journey. We had to cross like the highest point of the trek, which is about 5,300 meters. And it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. It was at high altitude in the winter, like, oh my gosh, my stomach, like straight up, I am someone that when I get anxious, I have to go to the bathroom, right? And the worst thing ever, this is a story for another time because I think it deserves its own little podcast episode. But to be at high altitude and then having to go to the bathroom, bathroom, like numero dos, and you can't because there are people like literally behind you. And you have the pack squeezing into your stomach and you can't breathe as well. And you're anxious because this is a challenge you've never done before. And if you get altitude sickness, you have to be like helicopter evacuated out. And I don't know, like some people that happens to them and some of them, it doesn't happen to them, but then they get really sick. I don't know. So I was freaking out about everything. We ended up making it through and it was like the most challenging but incredible experiences of my life. And I grew so much, like mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, everything. And that was like that challenge was 2 years ago. And I guess I've just been craving another challenge. And I'm like, I can't travel anywhere right now. We're in lockdown. Or I'm just stuck at home. And I know I'm craving a challenge, but I'm too scared to try something. But usually what I do is I use fear as my compass. And if something's speaking to me and I constantly think about it, but I'm scared, that means, hey, Sara, this could be the right path for you. So basically last year when when the pandemic first started and it was, lockdown, quarantine, everything, I was just like, whoa, yeah, like I was assuming this would last who knows how long, maybe like 6 months or something, right? And I was like, well, I'm going to totally just take this time to get extra lazy and eat all the junk food in the world and just like veg out in front of the TV and like do nothing. But man, that did not go well for me. My mental health suffered. I really didn't feel energized or good about myself. And that was the experience that I had last quarantine. And that was about a month and a half an experience out. Like after about a month and a half of me doing that, I was like, okay, I need to shake myself out of it. So I did. So it didn't last like too long, but still I know how that experience feels. And I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. Right. So now that we're in lockdown again, I was like, okay, Sarah, are you going to go back down that path that you did last year and experience the same thing again? Or are you going to try something new and experience a whole new experience while being stuck at home? And I was like, okay, this is a no-brainer because I'm missing travel. I'm missing new experiences. Yeah, if I can create and cultivate a new type of experience for myself while being at home, and I can come out of this lockdown mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically stronger than I have kind of pretty much ever been, because this is a hard challenge. I'm like, okay, this is totally speaking to me. Let me ask you this. Do you wonder how on earth I get to work with my dream couples that not only book me for exactly how I want to shoot, but I also easily connect with? Or why the heck you're not getting as many inquiries as you'd like? Or are you simply just feeling stuck in your photography business with no freaking clue on the next best move you need to make in order to take your business to the next level? If so, I got your back. I'm currently offering one-on-one coaching sessions that help you get unstuck. I make sure each session is customized to exactly what your needs are, not anyone else's, because you can't take a one-size-fits-all approach when running a photography business. I address things like mindset blocks that you may not even be aware of but are holding you back, and I even take deep dives into your why and your website to help you unearth the strategy that is right for you to unlock working with more of your dream clients. To book your coaching session with me, head over to saramonika.com/coaching. And there you get to pick your date and time. And as soon as you've done that, it'll prompt you to fill out a questionnaire. So I have all the info I need to create a custom coaching session for you. Remember, if you don't like where you are, change it. You're not a tree. It's a recent quote I heard of, and I'm like, yep, that is a bomb-ass quote. So let me help you get unstuck. Head over to saramonika.com/coaching right now. So that is why I decided to do this. And oh my gosh, I'm so happy I did. So far, I've completed 4 days in a row. Today is day 5. And so far, the first 4 days were actually pretty easy for me, because I think for me, I'm the type of person, if I set my mind to something, I'm like, I don't like blinders on, no distractions. I'm getting that thing done. There's no other option. That's just kind of how my mind works. I think like with more immersive experiences. So apparently if I give myself a goal of, Sarah, eat indulge in some junk food once a week, apparently that doesn't work for me, because maybe it's not an immersive experience. So I end up kind of falling off track. But I know that when I am in an immersive experience, like for example, Nepal, or when I did a temescal, which is a sweat lodge, that was a crazy experience as well. That deserves another podcast episode, but it was immersive, and it was like, you either go all in or you don't. That's always my attitude around things. Same with like business or creating a course or anything. So I'm trying to remember where I was going with this. Oh yeah. Okay. So far it's been easy for me, and it's because I switched my mindset to, this is going to be easy, because I rather go through it with less stress, less complaining, less bitching, less all of that than yeah, like just being in a grumpy mood because I can't have my wine or I can't have my cheese or whatever. So I kind of like flip that switch in my head, and so far it's been going really great. It's been interesting because I thought that I would feel like more energized right away. But I haven't had that experience yet. And I think it's because it has to do with like I mentioned in the beginning of this episode, I just came out of launching a new course and creating a new course, and that took so much energy that I think I'm in the stage where my body just needs more rest and self-care. And so my adrenals are kind of shot right now. So far I can't report that I'm feeling like much more energized and all this stuff. But one thing that I can say is that I'm feeling more like confident in my ability to choose something that I want and make it happen. And my body is feeling so much stronger already, just because I have worked out 4 days in a row and I've been going on so many walks. So I've been just like, my body already feels stronger and I feel more confident in it. And yeah, so that's been great. The water has been really good because it's been hydrating us. But actually, it's funny because Rory is actually doing this with me, but he could just kind of created his own little version around it. So he personally was like, he hates the winter. So he's like, I am not going outside for a walk in the winter. He literally cannot stand the winter. He's from South Africa, so that's probably why. But yeah, so he kind of like is doing a lot with me. Like he's doing the no alcohol, eating clean, working out. He's doing yoga every single day. That's going to be his thing. And my workouts are going to vary. He's doing the water thing with me. He's doing the progress picture with me. So the only thing he's not doing with me is the walk. And because he's not doing one of the parts, it's not called the 75 hard challenge for him. But it's okay because it's his own thing. Like he's still challenging himself so much, and that's okay. He has his own challenge that he's doing. And I've also seen a lot of you on Instagram, like, because I was like curious, I'm like, will anyone actually do this with me? And some of you are actually doing the 75 hard challenge. Some of you have taken that and become inspired by it and created your own challenges, which is amazing. So I love seeing that. I love seeing how everyone's kind of like, you know what, I am going to try something like this or do this. So I've been loving that. But yeah, with Rory and I drinking a lot of water, initially it's weird because the first 3 days we've experienced like a little bit more like headaches and nausea, and we were thinking like, oh, maybe it's the water like flushing like things out of our system, but we're not sure. We don't know exactly why, but so far, I mean, now I feel better. I think it's day 5 and I'm not feeling that headache anymore. I'm actually feeling better, and it's so much easier to drink the gallon of water daily because we bought these jugs that have like the little measurement on them, and they have little messages like, good morning, keep going, halfway there, no excuses, and then you did it. And if you guys want to know which 1 gallon jug that I bought that's been working so well, I love how I can track it. Just check out the show notes, saramonika.com/50, and there's a link to the one that I got there. So that's been really helpful. And yeah, so otherwise, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm definitely going to share a little bit more about how the experience goes. It's funny because so far for Rory and I, we're like, well, this is so far it's easy, but like it's day 5 out of 75 days. So we shall see how it goes. But I'm really, really excited that I get to I'm on the journey of discovering who I can be without the attachment of food, right? And alcohol and things like that. So yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm excited to see how many books I end up reading. And on top of that, of course, I'm excited to see how in shape I can get, because to be honest, like I fluctuate in weight. Usually in the summer, I'm about 10 or 15 pounds lighter because we're running. Like I don't run in the winter, but we run always in the summer. We just love running together. And I'm just more active, and I'm not as like sitting at home like snacking and all that kind of stuff. So I seem to fluctuate with my weight, right? But another thing that I'm excited for is just to see how strong my body can get and how I can, lose that extra weight in the winter, because I just feel like a such more powerful, confident person. To me, it will definitely help with like confidence and self-image, but there's so much about like body positivity that I'm not like going to get into right now, because it's a huge topic. And I love that people are all about that body positivity right now and everything. But I know personally for me, if I am 10 or 15 pounds heavier than my like summer weight, I'm less happy because everything I want to do becomes harder. And like for me to work out, the workout becomes harder. For me to just even get up off the couch, or I don't know, like it doesn't affect me in a positive way. So why would I keep doing that to myself in a way? And so yeah, I'm really excited to see how my body will transform and become stronger, so that I feel like consistent, higher energy levels. I'm really excited about that. And also, so far, I forgot to say too, with the food, I bet you guys are probably wondering, how are you doing with the food if you're saying that you have this like food addiction? So again, I switched off my brain. I was like, that junk food, cheese, gluten, like alcohol, it's not an option. So why would I even daydream about it? So I don't allow myself to do that. And I've been feeling so free. Like I've been feeling so like, oh my God, I'm not constantly trying to debate in my head, should I get that food or should I not? Should I or should I not? It's freaking exhausting. And I feel so free right now that I'm just like, nope. I'm literally, all I say right now is I don't drink. I don't eat junk. That's just who I am right now. And that helped so much. And yeah, so I'm really excited to see how that goes too with the food. And because I did the Candida cleanse about a year and a bit ago, because I had some eczema pop up on my face, and my naturopath told me that it's because I had like too much Candida in my system. And so I went on a Candida cleanse, and you guys know, I forget which episode it is. Okay, so I just paused the recording and checked. So it's episode 13, and I talk about my Candida cleanse journey. And the first 8 days, I had like actual withdrawal from food. And Rory, I was so emotional. I was such a little bee, like a little bitch, like just like whining and all that stuff. And honestly, I'm so grateful for Rory for just like, you know, being like, Sarah, it's okay. Like you'll feel better soon. Like, you know, like this will help you in the long run, all this stuff. Oh my God. So the first 8 days was so hard for me. But then after the first 8 days, it's like the Candida in my system was kind of like being, I don't know how to explain it. It was just like going away or whatever and being excreted. And so because of it being like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to explain this, because there was less Candida in my system, it actually created fewer cravings. So for example, the more you eat junk food, the more you crave it, because you have more of that in your body, wanting more and more. So after day 8, it was like out of nowhere, I had no cravings for all this stuff. And even I remember the last day, day 30 of the cleanse, I was like, oh my God, it's the last day. That means tomorrow I can have cheese. And I was like, when I went to go buy cheese the next day, because I was just like, oh, okay, I'll celebrate with some cheese. I was like, I'm not even craving it. Why am I getting this? And I'm just like, you know what? I'm healed. I will never crave cheese again in an unhealthy way. But you know what? I haven't had it for 30 days, so I might as well get it. And then the cycle started again. So it's so fascinating to me. But because I went through the Candida cleanse journey, and I know that, you know, for the following, 22 days after the first 8 days that were really hard, I had no cravings and it was easy. Because I did that, I actually see the benefit of it now, because I'm not craving junk food, and it's day 4, day 5. And I'm like, oh, the food, I feel like that will actually be easy. So I'm really interested to see what I learn from this. Am I someone that will be able to have food, like junk food, spontaneously, and, like not go down that rabbit hole again of constantly eating junk food? Or do I have to be that person that is like, I just don't eat junk food. I don't touch it, because I know who I become if I do. So it's going to be really interesting to see what I will learn from this process, and I will keep you updated. But yeah, if you're curious about this challenge, head over to 75hard.com, check it out there. And as I'm talking about this, I'm seeing 1:11 p.m. on the clock. So whoever believes in angel numbers, this is your sign. And also keep in mind the guy that kind of created it and runs it, he is a character. He is not for everyone. He is pretty much like a hard ass, and like the way he talks and everything could be like triggering for some people, and to some people it could be funny. I personally don't mind him, because I take everything what he says with like everything he says and teaches. He has a podcast as well. It's explained in a very, very intense and harsh way, but I can take out bits and pieces and I find value in it, and I kind of take what I want and apply it to my own life or my own mindset. So just a warning, he's not for everyone. But what he is, helping people with the 75 hard challenge, I think is amazing. I think he's helped so many people, inspire so many people to become mentally tougher and all that. So I think it's amazing. So yeah, only if it speaks to you, do it. If it doesn't speak to you, there's so many other ways that you can, challenge yourself mentally, grow right now. A book I'm reading right now, Think Like a Monk by J Shetty is an incredible book, and he talks about some amazing exercises you can do to, I guess, become mentally, emotionally, spiritually tougher. And I think tougher is the wrong word. I don't know what other word to use right now, but kind of more present, and in a way able to avoid suffering. And anyway, that's a whole nother thing. So, okay, check out 75hard.com. Also check out Think Like a Monk by J Shetty. Both of those resources have been incredible right now for me in this lockdown. And if you end up doing the challenge, let me know. DM me on Instagram, Sara Monika photo, and connect with me. I'd love to connect with you. And okay, so I can't wait to keep you updated with this, and can't wait to connect with you on Instagram. Hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Yay! Thank you so much for hanging out with me and tuning into this episode. If you got value out of it, please feel free to message me on Instagram at Sara Monika photo. That's Sara no H, Monika with a K photo, to let me know. I get so freaking energized hearing from others that what I've said has had a positive impact on their lives. Also, make sure to hit subscribe to the Shine and Thrive podcast to never miss an episode. I'm so grateful for you, and I'm sending you all the productive vibes your way so you have the best week ever.